Mike Irwin is with us from Pig Trail Nation, joining us each Monday here on Halftime. And, Mike, it's the beginning of SEC Media Days. Won't hear from Coach Pittman and his players until Thursday, the final day, but talking season is here. How much stock do you put in this week? Is it just a matter of filling time, or do you think you ever get anything from this?
You know, because we have content to fill until August camp starts. Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of sound bites. Honestly, the best stuff that we get is usually in what's called the breakout room. That's a separate room after you do all the media stuff that you're supposed to do with everybody. Pittman and his three players will be in a room separately with Arkansas media, and you'll get to ask a lot of the questions you want, and that'll tide us over until this whole thing starts. So, you know, it's just stuff you do. It's the talking season. It used to bug me because I wanted it to start. I wanted to get this thing underway. And now when you get my age, you know, slow things down. I'm very patient. I can wait. To me, the big news today was the draft last night and what went on there. And I don't know, a lot of Razorback fans are mad at what happened to Evo Lloyd. They're just astounded that, I don't know, whatever it was, 12 or 13 shortstops went in the first round before he did. But, you know, I thought the draft analyst on that telecast did a good job of pointing out that his strikeout numbers hurt him. He struck out 64 times in 266 at-bats. The top shortstop, college shortstop in the draft, kid from Oregon State, who went number 7 of the Marlins, whiffed just 51 times in like 254 at-bats. So those are better numbers, but not a huge difference. So Loy had more RBI. One of the analysts ended up saying that excessive strikeouts are usually correctable with good hitters. And Aloy's defense, his power numbers, his ability to slash the ball to all fields, suggested to him that Baltimore got him in a steal at 31st in the first round. And the online draft grade, I looked that up, for the Orioles for that pick was an A. So compare that to the C that the Nationals got after drafting a high school kid out of Oklahoma, number 1 overall. So, yeah, I don't think it was a disaster. What really matters is what do they do from this point on.
Well, and also I think to show, and you can already see it here with Aiden Jimenez, it's like with Zach Root going 40th overall, one more year with Matt Hobbs seems to make a pretty big difference when it comes to pitchers. I mean, Christian Fouch just went too, and that's interesting because Fouch had a better year last season, but his fastball velocity was still where it needed to be. I think it in terms of, one more year with Matt Hobbs just seems to make a lot of sense for pitchers. But for Aloy, you see Aiden Jimenez got drafted. That's do you think that's going to? They probably expected that coming in, but that's also somebody that they were hoping to be, a part of the rotation next year.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing a waiting game now to see what happens here. I think Tennessee is the one that's I got to think Vitello. Now, look, they had 4 of their current players that got drafted in the first round. I think that's a record for them, and they've got some prospects that they're going to have to wait out and see what happens. One of those. I think one of their top guys went pretty early in the first round, so they're going to lose some people. But the way Van Horn works the portal, and look, some of these portal guys, we got to keep an eye on that. The shortstop they got from Ball State, they got maybe a third baseman out of Texas Tech. I don't know what. I haven't looked to see how that's gone, but you're going to lose some of these people. But Van Horn he does so well with the portal. And then he usually ends up with 1 or 2 really good high school guys that play, some at least as freshmen. I'm not worried about Arkansas baseball. I just think this guy's going to continue to win. He knows what he's doing. They develop players, and the reputation is there. And to me, this draft stuff, other than just trying to look and see, hey, are we going to lose this guy or that guy, I don't worry too much about where somebody that's gone is going to, what round they're going to go in, because it's on them from now on. It's on Aloy, it's on Gage Wood to see what they can do from this point on.
Hey, Mike, I want to ask you a football question. I have LSU winning the SEC this year. Who do you have winning the SEC? And then what are your feelings right now on these Arkansas Razorbacks? 6-6, 7-5. You got us going to a bowl game again this year?
I've said before, I think there'll be a better team this year, but the schedule is tougher. So I don't know, and injuries always play a factor. They've already lost, at least for a month or two, maybe their top receiver in the spring, and that's not good. In a really weird weight room accident, it brings up that curse stuff again. I mean, how do you break your wrist in a weight room accident? I guess a weight fell on his wrist. I think they'll be okay. LSU looks like us. Look at the way they're continuing to recruit this year. I mean, they got money down there. They just do. And they do that in baseball, and honestly, they do it in basketball. They've just been down. But I don't know where they get their money down there in Louisiana. Somebody said they got oil. Do they have oil wells down there? I don't know what's going on down there. The guy I was talking to about Hunter Yurichek said, man, I wouldn't want to be him. Because at Arkansas, the whole program's at a pretty high level. But everything changes now with revenue sharing. And you got to make sure you get that money. Now, I was talking to John Tyson over at this basketball practice that we were able to watch, and I asked him about that, and he said, look, that's overplayed. They're going to be okay with meeting the cap and all that. And so he wasn't ready to panic on that. But I was told that there are some ADs around the country that aren't going to be around in 2 or 3 years because of the pressure that this is going to create. And we still don't know what's going to happen with NIL. I mean, there are people that think this revenue sharing may have just made the whole thing worse. So you just don't know. It's just become too much about money, and it's got to settle in somewhere, and we've got to at some point figure out what we're dealing with. But it's just a very unsettled situation. And LSU is one of those teams right now that looks like they're just cleaning up in recruiting. I don't know that I would pick anybody number one right now to win the SEC. I mean, I just don't. You can do that just to do it, but is that accurate? I don't know.
Well, I didn't know if you were high on Texas. A lot of people seem to think that Arch Manning is going to be the guy, and you're right. Georgia, Bama, there's a handful of teams. It's way too early. I love the fact that they got that quarterback coming back, who I think is the best quarterback in the SEC, and they're kind of changing up a little bit on defense.
Are you talking about Texas?
No, LSU's quarterback. Yeah. I like LSU's quarterback. Yeah,
I'd pick LSU over Texas. I mean, Arch Manning, he doesn't do anything for me. I think he's okay, but I always think Texas finds a way to blow it. I mean, they're another school that's just spent tons of money buying players. But I'd go with Georgia over them. I'd go with LSU over them. And, again, with Arkansas – it's about that secondary. I think the offense is going to be a lot better. The issue is going to be, are they just going to get burned repeatedly with that secondary? If they can tighten things up back there, I think they're okay stopping the run. But the SEC, if your secondary has issues, they will tear you up. So that's where, to me, the whole season boils down to. What is that secondary like this year?
Hey, Mike, last thing. I figured this out. When anytime I get asked by a Razorback baseball fan before the season, what do you think about the team this year? And I'm going to start with a question asking, is Dave Van Horn still the coach? Just the idea that if DVH is the coach, they're going to be good. I mean, they're going to be really good, and they're going to go in with expectations to go deep into June. Brian Kelly spoke about an hour and a half ago. If you were at LSU, somebody who's reporting at LSU, and they asked the question, are we going to make the playoff this year? Is this a national champion LSU team? And you start with, is Brian Kelly the coach? Is that a good or a bad thing for LSU?
Well, it hasn't been what they thought so far, and he is on the hot seat. I mean, he's got to produce this year because he's got the resources, and they've got the players. So is it going to come apart like it did last year at the end? I don't know. They were one of the more impressive teams I saw when I watched Arkansas play their SEC schedule, but they didn't make it. So I don't know. I think he's on the hot seat almost as much as Pittman is because their expectations at LSU are so much higher.
If they don't win 10 games this year, I could see him getting let go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those people are relentless. When they put that kind of money into what they're doing, they expect results. And you can admire that to some level. I mean, if you want to sit here and say they cheat or whatever you think they did, that's fine. But their fan base just says this is what we expect, and if you don't do it, sayonara, we'll go grab somebody else.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your sports betting action. And with baseball in full swing and football season right around the corner, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting. From MLB, UFC to tennis and NFL futures, BetOnline remains your choice for sports wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. Head to the website today and take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program with level-up bonuses and weekly cash boosts. BetOnline. The game starts here.